Hello and welcome. My name is Kamoye Benjamin. If you're joining me for the very first time, I identify as a peak performance coach and I help individuals and teams to create more impact, more income, whatever more represents for you: decisiveness, assertiveness, clarity, courage, confidence, whatever more represents for you. It's a peak performance conversation, and I help you master ways in which you can deploy yourself at the optimum mindset and skill set in order to create more, whatever more is required. Thank you for joining me in my daily, weekdays actually, teaching session on peak performance secrets. And today's teaching, straight up to it, is: can failure be a good thing? I want us to explore that. Is there any upside to the setbacks that we face in life? Thank you so much for joining me, and please share this video with those that you know would benefit from hearing this message. Send a link to them right away. Let's dive into it. What is a setback? Very quickly, through definition, a setback is a temporary or permanent delay. Okay, some setbacks are permanent. I remember when my dad passed on, I really felt that was a big blow, and that was a permanent setback in kind of my social relationships and stuff like that. And so there are, yes, permanent setbacks, that can hold you back and become an obstacle or reverse your progress significantly. So in whatever endeavor or situation, I would like for us to work with this definition of what a setback is: either a temporary or a permanent delay, obstacle, or reversal of progress, whatever it is that you're doing. And the question that I'm asking is there anything good that can come out of such a situation? Remember, we're having this conversation in the context of seeking to understand our relationship to failure. Failure has been seen mostly as this unfortunate thing. It needs to be avoided. There's nothing good that's coming out of it. And I've been exploring this idea of, should we be exploring and looking at our relationship to failure? Definition that we give to failure. What is it? What is its purpose? Why does it exist in life? Because if we're going to maximize everything that failure holds, then we need to understand how to define it. And the definition that we give it actually allows us to tap into what failure has in store for us. So let's dive in, and I'm going to be sharing with you three main upsides of a setback. Three main upsides of a setback. And the first main upside is learning and growth. Setbacks, failure, has immense opportunities for learning and growing. And I list just three. There is more than the time that I have, set aside for you to take in this call can allow. Resilience is one of them. Setbacks allow us to be resilient. Setbacks allow us to develop our character. Setbacks, if we take time to reevaluate and reflect, offer a lot of experiences. I remember John Maxwell, my mentor, shared this idea that reflection allows your experiences to catch up with you. Reflection is an opportunity for your experiences to catch up with you. And so in those moments of setback, there are tons of opportunities to learn, grow, and develop. Look at this. I believe in the leadership conversations that I have with people, it's a peak performance conversation. This is one key premise: that the inner game always runs the outer game. The inner game always runs the outer game. And so when you think about the inner game, what does that represent? Using an iceberg model, the inner game are your beliefs and values, your assumptions, your meaning-making system, your decision-making system, your personal identity, your self-image and esteem, your mental models, and how all these act as the inner game that drives and runs your outer game. What's the outer game? It's your competencies, it's your knowledge, it's your performance. But where the work is, where the engine is, this is what runs you. And so in moments of setback, in moments of failure, we discover a lot about ourselves. We discover our strengths. We discover our beliefs. You see, I teach this in the journey of leadership that, if you think about it, this is where you are today. The journey of moving from here to there. This is where you are today, a place that we're calling here. And you desire to go to another place that's called there tomorrow. And this journey is not going to be a straight line. In the learning and unlearning and relearning journey, we're going to kind of go in twists and turns over time in order for us to get there. And in that learning, in that journey, there are tons of opportunities to learn. All failure, all setback is an opportunity to learn, is an opportunity to be resilient, is an opportunity to develop our character. That is an upside. And the few who embrace setbacks, failure, and step back into the ring and strategize how they're going to punch life differently, they grow. They grow. They stretch. They expand. Because what setback does to you is similar to what a rubber band does. What you do to a rubber band. You stretch it. And once a rubber band has been stretched, it's not possible for that rubber band to go back to its original stretch capacity. It's equally the same with your mind. Once your mind has been stretched by a new idea, have you ever had an aha moment? Wow, that makes sense. Imagine that aha moment as a stretch in your brain, as a stretch in your mind. It never goes back to the way it was. It never goes back. You cannot unknow the thing you've known. And I hope that in today's session you can get some insights, that will help you to step into and navigate those obstacles, unseen obstacles in failure, in setbacks. And so in the journey of moving from here to go there, there's a lot of learning. We get to learn and understand, wait a minute, these are my beliefs. This is why I did what I do. These are the values that actually are driving me. These are the assumptions that are holding me back. These are the ways that I look at life, and wait a minute, I need to evaluate them. Look at my meaning making and decision making systems. This means that, and therefore I do this. And I remember every time I've failed, this is what has always happened. You've ever heard people say, I go around in circles? No, you go around in cycles, not circles. You're not chasing your tail. It's your assumptions and beliefs that create patterns of failure, patterns of demotivation, patterns of defeat, patterns. And it's like this thing always happens to me. It doesn't always happen to you. It always happens in you. And what you're seeing on the outside is just a manifestation of the inner game. Your beliefs, your values, and the way that you look at life. And so when we're talking about the upside of failure, we're looking at the inner game and asking, in what way is my inner game being revealed? In what way are my results indicating my inner game? Again, a great quote that I love, that your results are never an indication of your potential. Your potential is great, it's immense, it's limitless. Created by an unlimited God. Your results are not an indication of your current level. Your results are not an indication of your potential. What indeed they are is an indication of your current level of awareness. And what is awareness? Awareness is this inner game. This entire conscious awareness, this entire structure that runs the outer game, gives us opportunities for what? Opportunities for learning and growth. If there's anything that failure has for you, failure has feedback for you. Failure has feedback for you. Failure has, tickets for you to pick up and say, oh, I could do this differently. I could do this better. I could change this. I could approach this differently. And that is a moment and opportunity for learning. I love this. I love this quote. Look at it. Albert Einstein says, adversity, setback, failure introduces a man to himself. Woo! I love that. This is worth quoting and putting out there on Twitter or wherever it is that you have platforms. Adversity introduces you to you. And what does it introduce? It introduces your inner game. It introduces your self-image. It introduces, why do you struggle to give feedback? You failed because you are not able to say no. Why do you struggle to say no? You failed in that moment. There was a setback because you are not able to assert your opinions. Why do you struggle to assert your opinions? The project didn't take off well because you had everything in your hands and you were not able to delegate, and things didn't go as fast as you should have wanted them to go. Why do you struggle to delegate? Those setbacks introduce you to your inner game, because the inner game always runs the outer game. Again, your results are not an indication of your potential. Your potential is great. What runs your results is your inner game. It's the awareness. And until you surface that, hold up a mirror and say, hey, results, results, results. Show me how I went about creating this outcome and what I could have done differently. And boom, opportunities to learn there. Now, I want to take you to the scriptures. Look at this. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 13. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 13, and it says, no temptation. Anything that you're going to encounter, be it a challenge on you, no temptation has overtaken you that is unusual for human beings. There's nothing new that you're experiencing that someone else has not experienced. Guess what? In an area where you're struggling to create a result and an outcome, others before you have passed through that path. There are those who've gone before you and passed through that path. And they may have been challenged in one way or the other, but they got the result. And so the fact that you're not getting that result doesn't mean that the result has never been got. It's just that it's your first time to walk down that path. And you're encountering the challenges. You're encountering that challenge so that you can grow, so that you can develop, so that you can become. I shared this in a past teaching that we do not get what we want. We get what we believe. Who we are. That's the conversation. I want to bring this up very quickly. We don't get what we want. That's what my mentor Paul Martinelli told me. He said, Benjamin, you don't get what you want. You get what you believe. And what I believe is the inner game. It runs the outer game, which is my behavior. And so results are an opportunity for me to look at and say, wait a minute, how did I enter the arena? And what can I do differently in order for me to create the results that I know are possible for me and through me? Let's go back to that scripture again. And it says, but God is faithful. But God is faithful on your side. And he will not allow. Do you know the story of Job? He said, go and touch everything that he owns, but don't touch his soul. But God is faithful. He will not allow you to be tempted beyond your strength. I love this idea of not being tempted beyond your strength. You want to know how strong you are? Want to know how strong you are? In the middle of the setback. As you're punching through the challenge, as you're going through the situation, that's when you know how strong you are. The temptation is measured, and then your strength is measured. If the temptation is beyond your capacity to endure it, you know the way they used to measure sugar in the kiosk? You scoop that and take it out and see, does it balance? No, the temptation is still too much. Okay, let's reduce the temptation. It introduces you to yourself. Albert Einstein says that. And we find the wisdom in the scriptures when they say that no temptation that is beyond your strength will be approved to come your way. And also, with the temptation, a way is provided so that you may be able to endure it. And in that enduring moment, that setback, temporary or permanent, that setback is an opportunity for learning, is an opportunity for growth, is an opportunity for resilience. And that's when our inner game is being developed. That's when we are becoming the person who does what is required in order for us to get whatever it is that we desire. We are becoming the person who does what is required in order for us to have whatever it is that we desire. What do you want? And in the path to go and get what it is that you want, how are you being developed? I shared this. I'm going to bring it up one more time. Who must you become? This is where you're tested. This is where you qualify yourself to get whatever it is you want. And this is the process where setbacks come to make you the person who does what is required. Do you know everything has its worth, and it requires that you become worthy of it? Everything has its worth, and it requires you to become worthy of it. And how you become worthy of it is by doing. And you cannot do until you become. And when you become, you're able to do what is required, and then you have whatever it is that you desire. Again, it's an inner game. And it's the inner game of performance. It's the inner game of how do I create the results that I want in my life. And so setbacks come into our lives to teach us. Pema Chodron adds his voice in the conversation saying nothing ever goes away until it teaches us what we need to know. Until it teaches us who we need to become. Until it teaches us the lesson. You know very well that in your journey of life, your greatest highlights, the moments you remember, come from the setbacks that you went through. I don't know whether success ever inspired anyone to overcome more than failure does. I mean, as the quote goes out there, you never learn anything new from success. You probably just learn one way how to do it, but you never know all the other ways. And mastery is being able to understand what to do and what not to do in a particular venture. And so we're talking about what exactly does it take to win? And in the process of winning, what exactly is a setback supposed to do? The second thing that we're talking about here is that failure is feedback. And that feedback opens up opportunities for us to learn, opens up opportunities for us to be resilient, opens up opportunities for us to step out differently in order to create the results that we want. There is an upside to every setback. There is an upside to every setback. You just need to tune into it. You just need to be looking for it. But for you to be looking for it, you need to have a good understanding of, wait a minute, what is failure actually? So that when you encounter it, you don't spend 90% of the time wiping your tears and again, it's okay, you can cry. Yes, it's emotional, it's human to feel. Feel it. But don't waste your time sobbing for years. Dive back and harvest the good, harvest the lessons while they are still there. Number 2, upside of a setback. New opportunities. New opportunities exist in every setback. And there are new opportunities for either creativity and innovation, or for building stronger relationships with people, but also an opportunity to identify and avoid complacency. This is powerful. Every time you encounter a setback, you are in that moment learning how not to do what it is that you're trying to do. You learn how not to do it. Everything has got its defined formula. And if you don't know what that predefined formula is, you will be rewarded. And you will be rewarded with a setback that takes you back into the learning chair And in the learning chair, you come in more equipped. And you attempt again. And you get a better result than the previous one. But you still haven't got all the formulas. And that takes you back into the learning chair. And that takes you back into the creative zone. That takes you back into the imaginative zone. That takes you back to connect with other people and build strong relationships and say, hey, Benjamin, help me understand. How do you do this? And when you're connecting with others who've gone before you, I shared just shortly, there are those who've gone before you and they've done what you're trying to do. And you reach out to them and say, help me. I'd like for you to help me with this. I know you've tried this and I know you've conquered before. Show me how you did it. If you don't have the intelligence, you don't have the knowledge, it's resident somewhere else. And by setting out to identify who those people are, who have that knowledge, awareness, understanding that you lack, is an opportunity for collaboration. It's an opportunity for growth. It's an opportunity for building strong relationships. People who have gone through difficult moments together and shared those learning moments, they come out stronger. They come out stronger. Think about the people that you went through tough moments with. Think about the people that you are in the trenches with. The people that you endured the rain together. What quality of relationships do you have with those people? I believe they are lifelong relationships, especially when I look at my own life. I am more connected to the people that are in my life, especially the ones that we've gone through tough moments together. And they were there for me. I was there for them when we were there for each other. And so there's a great opportunity for learning, for creativity, for avoiding complacency. Have a look at this quote that has come up on the internet lately. Strong people create good times. Good times create weak people. Weak people create hard times. And hard times create strong people. You almost see a cyclical flow of how society goes. And this is such a testament to the idea that setbacks have a lot of upside. Because strong men, strong people were created by hard times. They were created by hard times. And when we have good success, we are strong. We came through hard moments. We almost think that it is our role to pass on to others good times, easy times. So lessons that we learned in adversity, we do not find ways to pass on those opportunities for learning to those that are coming after us. And those good times, those good moments create what? They create weak people. Because that opportunity for learning was never availed to them unless we manufacture it. Those opportunities will not come to us. And those weak people, all right, because they don't have the lessons, they don't have the awareness, they don't have the understanding, they create hard times. And when hard times come, those people who are born and finding themselves in those hard economic times, they make do with less. And they find ways to innovate, they find ways to create, they find ways to do what? To build relationships, how to avoid complacency, how to stretch the dollar, how to make do with less. That's an upside of a setback, of a failure. Has it happened in your life? And if you open this curtain of the failure, of the setback, temporary or permanent, what are the new opportunities that lie beyond the horizon? But you cannot see them if you're not looking. You will not become aware of them if you're not looking. Finally, I want to just land this here in a minute. Accumulated experience. The great thing about setbacks is as we're going back to learn again and back and learn again, we're learning all the ways how not to do it. And with every setback, there is a gem. With every setback, there is a learning. With every setback, there is an understanding. There is an awareness of ourselves and what the situation demands. And in that learning process, what we become is we become a reservoir of experience and knowledge. And again, we understand how to avoid complacency. It comes up once again. We know how not to do it. They'll say, no, don't run that way. Haven't you heard this quote? I hope I do say it well. That an old man sitting on a stool can see farther than a young boy standing on the top of the tree. Where is he? What kind of sight are we talking about? We're talking about experience. We're talking about having traveled the journey so many times, you know how it always pans out. And that experience becomes the wisdom that is applied into situations at a very low energetic cost. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. Let's talk to people who've been there and who've done that, and they can help us know, hey, this is not how to do it. Here's how you do it. Okay, you can go and make all the mistakes there are to make in the book. Fine, if that's what you want. Spend the time, make all the mistakes. Or you can actually go to somebody who's made all the mistakes and say, hey, show me how to do this. And that's what I do in my mentorship program. I help you leverage on the mistakes that I made. I'm doing the same. I'm leveraging on people who've made the mistakes that I don't want to make those mistakes. My mentorship with John Maxwell, the #1 leadership coach, speaker, trainer in the world, voted by Inc. magazine, gurus.com. John Maxwell has mentored me. I don't want to make all the mistakes he made. Paul Martinelli is my mentor. I don't want to make all the mistakes that he's made. I'm sitting at his feet and I want him to tell me, how did you navigate this? How did you navigate that? His failures become my feedback for the situation that I'm going through. And instantly I lean on him. And that's the power of mentorship. That's the power of mentorship and coaching. And that is what I offer those who are looking for someone who's going to guide them in their journey. And I provide that on my platform. And I'm going to bring it up for you who's watching this. I'm going to bring this up for you right now. Head out to catalyst.ke. Catalyst.ke, and you can start an opportunity for mentorship with me. You may need to apply for us to find, whether you qualify. Hold your spot. Open up spots from time to time. And that's an opportunity for me to mentor you. If you're like, hey, I need someone to mentor me. I'm being mentored. I know the power of mentorship. I know the power of walking with somebody in your life. There are upsides to every setback. But all these upsides can only be harvested by the perspective that you have about failure. As I close here, Aldous Huxley shared this quote. I think it's absolutely powerful. That experience is not what happens to you. It's what you do with what happens to you. Experience is not what happens to you. It's what you do with what happens to you. There's a lot that you're going to go through, a lot of setback. And that which happens to you is only 10% of the story. 10% of the story. But what happens within you and what you do with it is 90%. That's ready for you to harvest it. And so, what is your relationship with failure? What is your relationship with failure? And even as we go back to the very beginning, all right? As we go back to the very beginning, as we learned this, the question that we asked is, can failure be a good thing? Now, that's up to you to answer that question. Can it be a good thing? It depends on whether you're willing to see failure for what it actually is. An upside, number 1, for learning and growth. An upside, number 2, for an opportunity for you to grow and develop in your creativity, innovation, and build stronger relationships. And number 3, accumulate experience that can be applied in other spaces. And that experience and knowledge becomes the value that you bring into different spaces of your life. I hope that you've picked up an idea that can help you move forward in the direction of your dreams. My desire is always that this will serve you. And so if you've liked this, comment, subscribe, and let somebody know that this message is out here and they can leverage it. Thank you so much for connecting with me. Blessings until next time. Be well and bye for now.